Nathan Carter. That is my name, and until recently, I believed trust was the strongest part of any marriage. People often told me that love needed passion, money, or grand surprises. I always smiled and answered no. Love survives because two people choose to trust each other every single day. I truly believe that. One evening, I carried 2 coffee mugs into the living room and smiled at my wife. "Long day?" I asked. Emily accepted the mug and sighed. "You have no idea. You've been working so hard lately." "I know. This promotion changed everything." I nodded proudly. "Senior marketing executive." "I'm still proud every time I hear that." She laughed softly. "Thanks for always supporting me." "I always will." She reached across the couch and squeezed my hand. "I promise all these late nights will be worth it." "I know they will." She smiled before checking her phone. "I have to go back tonight." I blinked. "Again? I'm sorry. You've worked late 4 nights this week. Our department manager is pushing everyone. Adrian wants this project finished before next month." I shrugged. "If that's what it takes." She kissed my cheek. "I knew you'd understand." "I always do." She grabbed her laptop. "I'll be home before midnight." "I'll wait up." "You don't have to." "I want to." She smiled again before leaving. The front door closed. I looked around the quiet house and whispered to myself, "She's building her future." I honestly believe that future included me. Days passed the same way. Every morning, we shared breakfast. Every evening, she rushed out with another apology. Big meeting, another presentation, last-minute revisions. The client changed everything. Every excuse sounded reasonable. Every excuse sounded honest. Why wouldn't I believe my wife? One Saturday afternoon, my younger sister Sophie stopped by. She looked unusually nervous. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Of course." She sat across from me without touching the coffee I made. "What's wrong?" She hesitated. I saw Emily. I smiled. "At work?" She slowly shook her head. "No." "Then where?" "A restaurant downtown." "With co-workers?" "I don't think so." "What do you mean?" "There was a man with her." I frowned. "Who?" "I recognized him from a company website." "Who?" "Adrian Brooks." I laughed. "That's her manager." "I know. They're working together." Sophie looked down. "Nathan." "What?" "They weren't acting like co-workers." I immediately shook my head. "No, I'm serious. You probably misunderstood." I watched them leave together. "So?" He opened the car door for her. "He's being polite." She held his arm. "Maybe she slipped." She sighed. "I knew you'd say that. Because I know Emily." "I hope you're right." "I am." Sophie looked into my eyes. "I don't want to hurt you." "You aren't. I just wanted you to know." I smiled confidently. "My wife loves me." She forced a small smile. "I hope that's true." "It is." She hugged me before leaving. After she walked out, I felt annoyed. Not at Emily. At the situation. People always assumed the worst. Trust meant believing someone even when doubt tried to speak louder. That was what marriage meant to me. A few days later, Emily texted me. "Working late again. Don't wait for dinner." I stared at the message. Instead of replying, an idea came to mind. I'll surprise her. I ordered food from her favorite Italian restaurant. Maybe we could eat together before she finished work. Maybe she needed encouragement. When I arrived at the company headquarters, the lobby was nearly empty. The receptionist smiled. "Good evening." "Hi. I'm here to surprise my wife." "Emily Carter?" "Yes. She's upstairs." "Thanks." I carried the warm food toward the elevators. The office floor felt strangely quiet. Most lights were already off. As I turned a corner, I heard 2 employees talking. "Do you think they're still inside?" "They've been together almost every night." I froze. The second employee chuckled. "I guess secret meetings aren't much of a secret anymore." Poor husband. My heart skipped. No way he knows. I stood perfectly still. They walked away before noticing me. I told myself they had to be talking about work. They had to be. I slowly followed the hallway toward the conference rooms. Soft voices echoed around the corner. I recognized Emily immediately. "So," Adrian said quietly, "are you ready?" Emily laughed. "Almost." I stepped closer without making a sound. Then I saw them. Her fingers were wrapped around his hand. She smiled in a way I had not seen for months. Adrian brushed his thumb across her knuckles. Emily whispered, Just a little longer. He smiled. And then she looked directly into his eyes. Then everything will belong to us. He leaned closer. I can't wait. Neither can I. My fingers loosened. The dinner bag slipped slightly in my hand. Neither of them noticed. I couldn't breathe. Every late meeting, every apology, every excuse, every promise, all of it suddenly made sense. The woman I had defended, the woman I had trusted without question, the woman I loved. She had already chosen someone else. I turned around without making a sound. I walked down the empty hallway, carrying a dinner that would never be shared, finally accepting that my marriage had been built on lies. Nathan Carter. I barely recognized the man staring back at me in the bathroom mirror. My eyes were red. My hand would not stop shaking. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Emily holding Adrian's hand and smiling at him. I did not sleep that night. I wanted to confront her. I wanted to demand answers. Instead, I reminded myself, anger without proof only creates more lies. The next morning, Emily walked into the kitchen as if nothing had happened. "Morning," she said with a smile. "Morning. You look tired." I didn't sleep well. Too much work. You could say that. She poured herself coffee. "I'll be late again tonight." I forced a nod. "Big project." "Yeah." "With Adrian?" She looked at me for half a second before smiling. "Of course. Who else?" That tiny pause told me more than her words. She kissed my cheek. "I love you." The words hurt more than silence. After she left, I grabbed my phone and called the only person I trusted completely. "Ryan." "Nathan? You sound terrible. I need your help." "What happened?" "Not over the phone. Come to my office." An hour later, I sat across from my best friend, Ryan Mitchell. He listened without interrupting as I told him everything. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. "So, you didn't confront her?" "No." "Good. You think so? If she's hiding something, she'll be careful now. We need facts, not guesses." I rubbed my forehead. I don't even know where to start. Ryan smiled slightly. "You called the right guy. I knew you worked in cybersecurity. And sometimes that skill is useful outside the office." "What are you thinking?" "If company records have been altered, there may still be digital traces. You can find them?" "I can try." He turned toward his computer. "I'll only access information that's legally available to me. If deleted records exist in the system backups, we'll know." I nodded. "That's all I need." His fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. Minutes passed in silence. Then he frowned. "That's strange." "What is it?" "There are missing contract revisions." "What does that mean?" "Someone deleted approval histories." "Can that happen by accident?" Ryan looked at me. "No." My stomach tightened. He opened another file. "There are also encrypted messages between Adrian and Emily. Can you read them?" "Not all of them." "What do they say?" He pointed at one recovered message. "Keep everything off the official records. I'll handle the transfers." I stared at the screen. "Transfers?" Ryan nodded. "Money, contracts, or both." Another recovered message appeared. "Nobody can find out about us until everything is finished." I felt my chest tighten. They weren't even trying to hide it from each other. Ryan sighed. "I'm sorry, Nathan." "So is Sophie right?" "It looks that way." I lowered my head. I kept defending her. "You trusted your wife." "I trusted the wrong person." Ryan placed a hand on my shoulder. "This isn't over." "What do you mean?" "If financial records were changed, someone higher up will eventually notice." Before I could answer, my phone rang. The caller ID surprised me. Victoria Lawson, the company's founder and CEO. I answered immediately. "Good afternoon, Ms. Lawson." "Nathan, are you free to meet today?" "Yes. I prefer to speak privately." "Of course." "There are financial irregularities inside the company." My heartbeat quickened. "I need someone I can trust." I swallowed hard. "You've always been honest." "I'll help however I can." "Good." She paused before adding quietly, "And Nathan, trust no one until we meet." The call ended. Ryan looked at me. "That can't be a coincidence." I slowly nodded. "No." For the first time, I realized this wasn't just about my marriage anymore. Something much bigger was beginning to unfold. I arrived at Victoria Lawson's office 30 minutes later. She closed the door herself. "Thank you for coming, Nathan. I came as soon as you called." She motioned toward a chair. "Please sit." I noticed several folders spread across her desk. She folded her hands. I've trusted this company with my life. I know. And lately, numbers haven't been adding up. What kind of numbers? Payments, contract approvals, and missing records. I kept my expression calm. Have you identified the source? Not yet. She looked directly at me. But I know someone inside is helping hide the truth. I hesitated before speaking. I want to help. That's exactly why I called you. Why me? Because your reputation is spotless. Her words made my chest tighten. If I ask you to investigate quietly, will you do it? Yes. Good. She picked up another folder. You won't be alone. The office door opened. A tall man in a navy suit stepped inside. Daniel Reed, Victoria said. Our legal advisor. Daniel shook my hand. It's good to meet you, Nathan. You too. Another woman entered carrying a tablet. And this is Olivia Hayes, head of internal compliance. She smiled politely. I've heard you're someone who values honesty. I try. Victoria looked at all three of us. Everything discussed here stays in this room. We all nodded. Daniel opened a file. We've discovered several contracts approved without proper authorization. Olivia added. The approval trail disappears after Adrian Brooks reviews them. I exchange a glance with Ryan's recovered messages in my mind. So, the missing records weren't an accident. Daniel shook his head. Definitely not. Olivia tapped her tablet. We also found unusual transfers between partner accounts. Can it be traced? I asked. Some can. And the others? They were hidden through shell companies. Victoria leaned forward. I don't believe Adrian acted alone. Neither did I. But saying Emily's name out loud still felt impossible. Daniel slid another document across the table. We need someone familiar with daily operations. I understand. Can you help us review these contracts without alerting Adrian? Yes. For the next 2 hours, we examined invoices, emails, and payment records. The deeper we looked, the worse everything became. One contract had been altered 3 different times. Another listed services that never existed. Olivia frowned. These signatures don't match. Daniel nodded. They've been digitally copied. Victoria sighed. This company is being robbed from the inside. I felt my phone vibrate. It was a message from Emily. Working late again. Adrian says we're almost finished. Love you. I stared at the screen. Victoria noticed my expression. Everything all right? I locked the phone. Just family. She nodded without asking another question. Olivia suddenly spoke. I found another email archive. Daniel leaned closer. What does it show? She swallowed. Emily Carter approved several financial documents after office hours. My heart sank. Victoria looked confused. Emily. Daniel adjusted his glasses. Those approvals allowed the transfers to proceed. I closed my eyes for a moment. Was Emily helping willingly? Or was she blindly trusting Adrian? Ryan's words echoed inside my head. We need facts, not guesses. Olivia opened the final attachment. There are private messages attached. She looked uncomfortable. Daniel read them silently before passing the tablet to me. The first message was from Adrian. Sign everything I send. Don't ask questions. I'll take care of the rest. Emily replied. I trust you. I know we're building our future together. Another message followed. Nobody will ever suspect you. My hands trembled. Emily believed Adrian loved her. She had no idea she was only a shield protecting his crimes. Daniel broke the silence. This is enough to begin legal action. Victoria looked at me carefully. Nathan, are you all right? I took a slow breath. No. She nodded with quiet understanding. I wish I had better news. I looked at the evidence spread across the table. Every document, every message, every forged contract. Together, they proved one terrible truth. My marriage was collapsing. The company was collapsing. And I was holding the evidence that could destroy them both. The next morning, I walked into Victoria Lawson's office carrying a thick folder. She looked up. You found more? I placed the folder on her desk. I found everything. She opened it slowly. Every contract, every recovered message, every fake approval, every financial transfer. She read in silence before looking at me. This is enough. Enough for what? To save the company. She immediately picked up the phone. Called the board. Within an hour, the conference room was full. Directors sat around the long table. Daniel Reed stood beside the projector. Olivia Hayes organized the files. Victoria faced everyone. Thank you for coming on such short notice. One board member frowned. Is this about the missing funds? Yes. She nodded toward Daniel. Begin. Daniel projected the first document onto the screen. As you can see, these contracts were altered after approval. Another director leaned forward. Who authorized this? Daniel answered calmly. The evidence points toward Adrian Brooks. The room became silent. Olivia displayed the recovered messages. These communications were deleted from the official system. Another board member asked, "Can they be verified?" Yes. She handed over the forensic reports. Marcus Bennett entered the room, carrying another stack of documents. Victoria stood. Everyone, this is Marcus Bennett, our lead forensic accountant. Marcus nodded politely. I've completed the first review. What did you find? Victoria asked. He placed several charts on the table. The financial damage is much larger than expected. How much larger? Millions. Several people gasped. Marcus continued. The money didn't disappear. Then where did it go? It was moved through fake vendor accounts. Daniel frowned. Can you prove it? Marcus opened another report. Every transaction is documented. Victoria looked at me. You were right. I didn't feel victorious. I only felt exhausted. Victoria took a deep breath. We're launching a full internal investigation, effective immediately. Every executive agreed. Within minutes, company security locked multiple offices. Employee access cards were suspended. Computers were secured. No one was allowed to leave with company files. News spread through the building almost instantly. People whispered in every hallway. I was walking toward the operations floor when I heard Adrian shouting. This is ridiculous. Two investigators stood outside his office. You'll need to step aside, Mr. Brooks. You can't search my office. We have authorization. You have nothing. One investigator calmly replied, We'll determine that. Adrian suddenly noticed me standing nearby. His face darkened. You. I met his eyes. What about me? You started this. I reported the truth. He stepped closer. You have no idea what you're doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. He pointed toward the investigation team. They're wasting their time. An investigator interrupted him. Sir, please cooperate. Adrian forced a smile before turning back to me. This won't end the way you think. I answered quietly. It already has. As investigators entered his office, Adrian grabbed several folders from his desk. What are you doing? One investigator asked. Personal documents. Leave them. They're mine. Marcus walked into the office carrying another report. Their company property. Adrian froze. Marcus looked directly at him. And destroying evidence is a separate crime. For the first time, I saw genuine fear in Adrian's eyes. He slowly placed the folders back onto the desk. The investigators immediately began photographing every document. Hard drives were removed. Cabinets were opened. Nothing escaped their attention. I stood silently in the hallway. This wasn't revenge. This was the truth, finally refusing to stay buried. And deep inside, I knew the hardest part of this story had not even begun. I remained outside Adrian's office as investigators carried out box after box of evidence. Employees lined the hallway, whispering to one another. Did you hear? They're saying millions are missing. I can't believe Adrian is involved. Someone noticed Emily walking toward the crowd. She looked confused. What's going on? She asked. No one answered. She spotted me standing nearby. Nathan. I looked at her, but said nothing. She hurried toward Adrian's office. Adrian, an investigator, stepped in front of her. Ma'am, this area is restricted. I need to speak with him. I'm sorry. You can't. She pushed past him. Adrian. He turned around, forcing a smile. Emily, everything's under control. She looked frightened. Why are they searching your office? It's a misunderstanding. Marcus Bennett walked into the hallway, carrying another report. It isn't. Everyone became quiet. Marcus faced Victoria Lawson. We've completed another review. Victoria nodded. What did you find? Marcus opened the report. We traced over $8 million through fake vendor accounts. Gasps filled the hallway. Emily stared at Adrian. That's impossible. Marcus continued. Every transaction was approved using forged records. Emily turned to Adrian. Tell them they're wrong. He avoided her eyes. They're twisting the facts. She grabbed his arm. You said everything was legal. It is. Marcus shook his head. No, it isn't. Daniel Reed stepped forward. The evidence is overwhelming. Emily looked at Adrian again. Say something. He suddenly pulled his arm away. This wouldn't have happened if you had done your job properly. She blinked. What? You signed the documents. You told me to. You should have read them. Her face turned pale. I trusted you. That wasn't my problem. She stared at him in disbelief. You said we were building a future together. Adrian laughed bitterly. You believe that? Her lips trembled. You used me. You made yourself useful. Those words echoed through the silent hallway. Emily took a shaky step backward. Tears filled her eyes. I gave up everything for you. I never asked you to. You told me you loved me. I told you what you wanted to hear. She covered her mouth, trying to stop herself from crying. I watched quietly. Part of me remembered the woman I had married. Another part remembered every lie she had told me. She slowly turned toward me. Nathan. I didn't answer. Fresh tears rolled down her face. I'm so sorry. I remained silent. I thought ambition was love. Her voice broke. I thought choosing success would make me happy. She fell to her knees. I destroyed our marriage. Everyone watched without speaking. She looked up at me. Please forgive me. I know I don't deserve it. I know I broke your heart. I know I believed the wrong man. I took a slow breath. My heart still hurts, Emily. She lowered her head. I know, but I won't become someone consumed by revenge. She looked at me hopefully. That doesn't mean we can go back. Her shoulders slumped. I understand. Police officers entered the building moments later. One approached Adrian. Adrian Brooks, you're under arrest for fraud, conspiracy, and financial crimes. He tried to argue. This is ridiculous. The officer calmly placed him in handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. As they led him away, Adrian looked around for help. No one moved. Emily watched him disappear down the hallway. The man she had chosen over our marriage never looked back. She stood alone, her career finished, her reputation destroyed, and the future she had imagined reduced to ashes. As I watched the police escort Adrian out of the building, I finally understood something I'd been too heartbroken to see before. Karma had accomplished more than revenge ever could. Emily remained frozen at the entrance, staring at the closing police car door, finally realizing she had lost everything that had truly mattered. 3 months passed before I signed the final divorce papers. The judge looked at both of us. This marriage is officially dissolved. I quietly nodded. Emily stared at the floor. Neither of us spoke as we left the courthouse. Outside, she whispered, "Goodbye, Nathan." I paused for a moment. "Take care of yourself." Then I walked away. For the first time in months, I didn't feel angry. I simply felt free. The nights slowly became easier. I slept without waking from nightmares. I stopped checking my phone, wondering where Emily was. I stopped replaying old conversations in my head. Instead, I focused on work. One morning, Victoria Lawson called me into her office. "Come in, Nathan." I smiled. "You wanted to see me? I have good news." She handed me a sealed envelope. I opened it carefully. My eyes widened. "Chief Operating Officer?" She nodded. "The board voted unanimously. I wasn't expecting this." "You earned it." "I only did what was right." "Exactly." She smiled warmly. "Integrity is difficult to find." I looked at the promotion letter again. "Thank you." "No." She shook her head. "Thank you for saving this company." As I walked out of her office, Ryan Mitchell was waiting near the elevators. "Well?" he asked. I held up the letter. He grinned. "I knew it. I still can't believe it." "You should. I keep thinking someone else deserved it." Ryan laughed. "Nathan, stop doing that." "Doing what?" "Blaming yourself for things that were never your fault." I leaned against the wall. "It's hard." "I know. I keep asking myself if I could have saved my marriage." Ryan looked me straight in the eyes. "Let me ask you something." "Okay. Did you lie?" "No." "Did you cheat?" "Never." "Did you steal?" "No." "Then why are you carrying someone else's mistakes?" I didn't answer. He smiled gently. "You loved honestly." "I did. That's nothing to be ashamed of." His words stayed with me long after we left the office. Over the following weeks, life slowly found new rhythm. The company recovered. Clients returned. Employees smiled again. The fear that had filled every hallway disappeared. One afternoon, Olivia Hayes stopped by my office. "I thought you'd like to know something." "What is it?" "I heard Emily has been applying for jobs." I stayed quiet. Olivia sighed. "No one wants to hire her." "Because of the investigation?" She nodded. "Every employer recognizes her name." I looked out the window. "I never wanted her life destroyed." "I know. You could have demanded revenge." "I didn't. You simply told the truth." I slowly nodded. "The consequences belong to everyone who made those choices." That evening, I sat alone in my apartment, watching the city lights through the window. Months earlier, I thought losing my marriage meant losing my future. Now I understood something different. Sometimes losing the wrong person creates space for the right life. Just as I was about to leave the office the next day, my phone buzzed. The message came from a number I hadn't seen in months. "Emily, can we meet one last time? I don't want anything except a chance to apologize properly. Please." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I quietly placed the phone back into my pocket. Maybe some conversations could finally end the way they were always meant to. And deep inside, I knew this would be the last chapter Emily and I would ever share. The following afternoon, I arrived at the small cafe 5 minutes early. Emily was already there. She looked nothing like the confident woman I had once married. The expensive clothes were gone. The bright smile had disappeared. When she saw me, she stood slowly. "Thank you for coming." I took the seat across from her. "You said you wanted to talk." She nodded. "I do." For a moment, neither of us spoke. Finally, she whispered, "I'm sorry." I remained silent. Tears filled her eyes. I've said those words 1,000 times in my head. She looked down at her hands. "I don't expect them to fix anything." "They can't," I answered gently. "I know." She wiped away a tear. "I spent months asking myself why I ruined everything. And I finally found the answer." I waited. It wasn't love. What wasn't? What I felt for Adrian. She took a slow breath. It was greed. Another tear rolled down her cheek. It was pride. She shook her head. And blind trust in someone who only wanted to use me. I listened without interrupting. I confused ambition with love. She smiled sadly. "I thought success would make me happy." "It didn't." "No." She looked into my eyes. "Losing my career hurt." She paused. "But losing you hurt far more." The cafe grew quiet around us. I remember every morning we shared breakfast. I remember every time you believed me. So do I. I didn't deserve that trust. "No, you didn't." She lowered her head. "If I could go back, I'd choose you." I smiled sadly. "But you can't." "I know." She reached into her purse and placed our old wedding photo on the table. "I kept this." I looked at it for a few seconds. Then I slid it gently back toward her. "Those people don't exist anymore." She nodded as fresh tears fell. "I don't expect another chance." "You shouldn't. I only hoped. Maybe one day you could forgive me." I took a deep breath. "I already do." She looked up in surprise. "You do?" "I forgave you a long time ago." Hope briefly appeared in her eyes. "But forgiveness isn't the same as going back." Her smile faded. "I understand. I forgive you because I don't want to carry hatred for the rest of my life." She quietly nodded. But our story ended the day trust died. I reached into my pocket. For months, I had carried my wedding ring without knowing why. Now I finally understood. I placed it gently on the cafe table. Emily stared at it, unable to speak. "Keep it," she whispered. I slowly shook my head. "It belongs to the past." She covered her face as she cried. "I'm so sorry, Nathan." "I know. I really did love you. I believe you." She looked confused. "You do. I believe you love me." I stood from my chair. "But love without honesty cannot survive." She closed her eyes. "I've learned that too late." I nodded. Some lessons cost everything. Without another word, I turned toward the door. "Nathan." I stopped but didn't look back. "I hope you're happy." For the first time in a very long time, I smiled. "I think I'm finally learning how to be." Then I walked away. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The past no longer had the power to call me home. Outside, the afternoon sun felt warmer than it had in months. As I walked toward my car, I realized the greatest victory had never been Adrian's arrest, Emily's downfall, or the company's recovery. True victory was choosing peace instead of revenge. It was refusing to let betrayal decide who I would become. My future no longer belonged to heartbreak. It belonged to me. And as I drove toward the life waiting ahead, I finally understood that silent karma had changed every life exactly as it should, leaving me with something far greater than revenge. It left me with hope.